The diamond ring. I traded for a one-way ticket to Nashville. My boyfriend of 5 years, Brandon, sat me down on a random gray Tuesday night in our perfectly staged apartment in Boston. He had that look, the one where he'd rehearsed a speech in front of the bathroom mirror. Then, he delivered the lines that usually shatter a girl's heart. I think we need a break, Sarah, just to see if we truly miss each other. I didn't argue, I didn't cry, I didn't even manage a sarcastic laugh. I just looked at him, feeling numb, and said, I understand. What he didn't know was that I'd been hiding a velvet box in my nightstand for 6 weeks. Inside, a vintage engraved pocket watch, his grandfather's style, that I'd hunted down at every antique shop from Maine to Connecticut. It was for our anniversary next month. I'd even convinced my incredibly strict boss to give me extra shifts, just so Brandon could take a month off work to find his creative spark for his struggling photography business. I was ready to build a forever with this man, even if it meant carrying his dreams on my back. But as he sat there, droning on about personal growth and needing space to breathe as an artist, I just started mentally packing. I watched him fidget with his expensive watch, probably waiting for me to beg him to stay, to remind him of every memory, every promise. Instead, I helped him move his art supplies and camera gear into his sister's spare room that same night. I even organized his lenses. He looked perplexed that I wasn't a total wreck. He expected tears, drama, not quiet efficiency. The next morning, I did something completely, beautifully, reckless. I walked into that antique shop, returned the pocket watch, and walked out with $3,000 in cold, hard cash. I didn't go back to the apartment. I drove straight to Logan Airport and booked a one-way ticket to Nashville, Tennessee. See, Brandon always hated country music. He called it too simple, too emotional, and so incredibly cliche. He had our whole life mapped out in the Northeast, a minimalist loft in the city, artisanal coffee shops, and weekends at pretentious art galleries. He wanted a life that looked perfect in his black and white photos, but felt muted and colorless to me. 2 weeks later, I was walking down Broadway, the neon lights of the honky-tonks painting the street in vibrant colors. The air smelled like fried chicken and cheap whiskey, and the sound of a steel guitar was pouring out of every single doorway. For the first time in half a decade, I felt awake. I traded my sensible pumps for a pair of sparkling cowboy boots, and honestly, my soul had never felt lighter. I landed a job as a barista at a coffee shop that hosted open mic nights and spent my nights learning how to play the ukulele. I wasn't Sarah, Brandon's supportive girlfriend anymore. I was the girl with the brightly colored hair who knew every old country song by heart and wasn't afraid to sing along. Meanwhile, my best friend Chloe kept me posted on Brandon's spiritual journey. He was posting brooding artist selfies every morning, hitting the same 3 craft breweries every weekend with his creative circle, clearly trying to prove he was living his absolute best, most profound life. According to Chloe, he kept, casually, asking if I finally come to my senses and missed his intellectual conversations yet. Then, the messages started. At 2 a.m, my phone buzzed. I made a huge mistake, Sarah, he texted. The apartment feels empty without your order. This break was a terrible idea. When are you flying back to reality? I didn't reply. I was too busy watching the Nashville skyline glow under a full moon, humming a new song I'd just written. Then came the anger. I saw your Instagram story. Nashville? Seriously? That's so immature. You're just running away from our real cultured life to play some kind of hillbilly fantasy. It's pathetic. Answer me. I looked up from my phone and met the eyes of Lily, a cheerful bartender who'd become my closest friend. She leaned over, took a sip of her sparkling water, and smiled. You know, Lily whispered, her southern accent warm and comforting, some people spend their whole lives looking for a fancy roadmap when all they really need is a little bit of heart. I felt a rush of warmth in my chest that had nothing to do with the summer humidity. I pulled up Brandon's chat and sent one final message. I found someone who doesn't need a map to know exactly where they belong. Good luck with your art, Brandon. Hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. His response came back within a minute. Pure, condescending bitterness. Nashville is a joke. You'll be back in a month when you realize you can't handle real art, real intellect. I didn't even bother to block him. I just turned off my phone, grabbed my ukulele, and stepped onto the stage for my first open mic night. It turns out, I didn't need a break to find myself. I just needed to leave him behind to finally find my melody.